Changes in technology and popular designs mean that headstones have varied a lot through history. They've been everything from small and simple that you might even trip over, to large and ornate, even taller than I am. The workers pumped out the gas using long gray hoses, and these yellow hoses from the fire trucks were in case anything lit on fire. This cue is your clue where to get the meal kits that you've registered for. On the third floor of the TSC, behind this ping pong table and pool table, on these shelves. If a truck loses its brakes on the way down the hill, rather than go into town, it can now use this new truck ramp, which is a pretty unique design. In order to maintain proper social distance, the quad was divided into pods using this yellow rope, and only 50 students were allowed in each pod. I'm in front of the old post office in downtown Logan. It's been here over 100 years, and people are working to make sure it stays even longer.
It's a delicious vegetable.
Tyson Holman is making himself dinner.
I'm an expert when it comes to mac and cheese, but when it comes to things like stir fry, it gets a little more into the gray area.
But tonight, he is making a stir fry, thanks to the new USA program, Aggies Be Cookin'.
Chocolate chips to 10 ounces.
Members of the USU Student Association prepare meal kits each week for a different recipe they want to push students out of their comfort zone.
I just like to use my creativity with this and include meals that have new techniques or unfamiliar foods so that students can have an opportunity to try those.
Very simply with the florets, you can just
Videos like this one come with the meal kits and show how to make each meal.
This cue is your clue where to get the meal kits that you've registered for. On the third floor of the TSC, behind this ping pong table and pool table, on these shelves.
And then we know what to put in our order.
The Student Association members who planned the program hope the meal kits make freshmen feel at home and are
hopefully something that makes all the difference for those new students at Utah State.
This is the end.
Tyson used the meal kits 3 weeks in a row.
I've been trying to have like a meal plan, so I'll like shop on Sunday and then plan out my meals for the rest of the week, but that doesn't usually work out for me, so this is a godsend.
We've had semi-accidents, but not back-to-back like this. And the same type of vehicle, fuel haulers.
On Thursday at 11, a tanker rolled a few miles from the Utah-Wyoming border. The next day, another tanker rolled in the canyon south of Bear Lake. Police blocked traffic for a few hours after each crash.
It's a little stressful, and traffic going down the highway, and people want to stop and look, and lots of people get out and want to come over and help, which is a good thing in a way, but then there's more people in danger.
The workers pumped out the gas using long gray hoses, and these yellow hoses from the fire trucks were in case anything lit on fire. Firefighters first had to cut holes in the tankers, then they fed hoses through the holes. The gas that had already spilled out had to be cleaned up separately.
The other cleanup process is just digging it out of the dirt and making sure it's not here so that as rain and snow comes, as we head into winter, that it's not going to affect and get into the groundwater or drinking water for people around.
Sheriff Stacy says that cleanup should be done within the next few weeks. You can put anything you want on your headstone. People could look at it and learn about your job, hobbies, interests, or even pets. New techniques mean a headstone can tell you all about what that person was like. Brown Monument in Smithfield sells headstones across northern Utah. They've seen the influence of technology, making it easier to personalize headstones, which makes their job more fun.
My most favorite stones to work on are ones that are a little bit different. A different shape, a little bit different idea. You can get crazy, you can make any kind of shape you can think of.
They use etching, sandblasting, and even changing the shape of the stone to personalize it for their customers.
Changes in technology and popular designs mean that headstones have varied a lot through history. They've been everything from small and simple that you might even trip over, to large and ornate, even taller than I am.
Early American settlers brought headstone trends from Europe. In the late 1600s, the winged death head became popular, followed by skulls, skeletons, and faces. In the mid-1700s, cherubs were more common on headstones, and a few decades later, willows and urns became popular. In Logan Cemetery, there are several headstones that show how unique and personal you can make them. This headstone lists the accomplishments of its owner. This headstone may look standard from the front, but on the back has a cowboy poem carved into it. This headstone has a few images carved into its side, and the back has a recipe for fudge. Even USU students aren't too young to think about how they'd like their headstones to look.
My headstone, it would have flames engraved on it, and it would look like a rock star was buried there.
I've always loved nature, so maybe something like the mountains, since we live around here too. It's really pretty.
This student wants his favorite food on his headstone.
So I got my shell. I want some carne asada in there, just not any type of meat. Then I'll put some shredded cheese, lettuce, no guac, but pico, just a little tiny pico.
No matter what it is, you will be able to leave your legacy carved in stone.
And I'm Robinson Miles. A Nibley family is staying with relatives after their house caught fire. Sarah Murphy shows why they could be staying with family for months. The mother, father, and 2 daughters who were in the house were able to get out safely. And in the movie Babe, a pig herds sheep. Over the weekend, I caught a competition with cows instead of sheep. Instead of a pig, cow dogs. If you're interested in competing, there are divisions for beginner and junior handlers. So Sarah, do you think you've ever had a pet that could do any of that?
I've never had a pet, period. And after watching that, not sure if I want one.
So it's a little intimidating to see what they're able to do if you put enough work into it.
It's a lot of work. It seems like a lot of work for sure.
Welcome to ATV Sports. I'm Robinson Miles. Gary Anderson is no longer the head football coach at Utah State, and he's had a coaching career full of ups and downs. Anderson first became the Aggies' head coach leading up to the 2009 season. Overall, he went 26-24 in 4 seasons, including this overtime victory against Utah in 2012, his last season with Utah State, when the Aggies went 11-2. Before the 2013 season, he became the head coach at Wisconsin, where he coached for 2 seasons and went 19-7. The Badgers went into this 2014 Big Ten championship game against Ohio State, ranked number 11 in the country, but lost 59-0. 4 days later, and before Wisconsin's bowl game that season, Oregon State announced that Anderson would become their new head football coach. Later, Gary would say that the switch was because of Wisconsin's high standards for students that excluded athletes he wanted to recruit. Over 2 seasons, Anderson went 7-23 with the Beavers, including this 58-27 loss at Colorado State to start off the 2017 season. Halfway through that season, on October 9th, Gary announced that he was quitting the Oregon State job, leaving behind a $12 million contract. He later attributed the choice in part to conflicts with assistant coaches. Then, Utah State hired Anderson back as head coach after he spent 1 season as a defensive assistant coach at Utah. He went 7-6 with the Aggies in his first season last year, following an 11-2 Aggie team the year before. And after a 0-3 start this year, the administration wasn't impressed.
First 3 weeks, other than a snippet here or there, was not Aggie football as we've grown accustomed to.
The most recent loss was Thursday against the Nevada Wolfpack, a game that gave whiplash to the expectations of the Aggie fan base. This safety by sophomore A.J. Vompachon was the first score of the night, and the Aggies followed it with a touchdown pass to Justin McGriff that put them up 9-0. Then things took a turn. In total, the Aggies gave up 542 yards on defense and 34 unanswered points to the Wolfpack, leading to the end score of 34-9. The high school 4A football quarterfinals are this weekend, and the matchup between Skyview and Cedar sent me back to school. My first class was math. It was a windy night on Friday when Skyview taught me to multiply by 7 by finding the end zone 5 different times, including this 3-yard run by senior quarterback Kason Carlson. My next class history. Cedar faked a field goal that turned into an interception by senior Isaac Larson, which he ran back 99 yards for a touchdown. It made me think about the past, when I remember him wearing a different set of colors. Larson was a Logan Grizzly last season before switching sides to state champion Skyview. He has played both sides of the ball for both teams, but is committed to play cornerback for Utah State after graduating. My last class was science. This game was a lesson in survival of the fittest. Skyview came in undefeated, and that wouldn't change, with the number 1 seed coming away with a 35-7 victory. Also in a quarterfinal matchup, number 4 Ridgeline took on number 5 Park City. This one went down to the wire, and to show just how intense it was, we're introducing the ATV Stressometer. Both teams' cheerleaders were there for a windy night at Ridgeline. The Riverhawks struck first with a 1-yard keeper by junior quarterback Caden Cox. Park City matched that score with a 9-yard scramble into the end zone by senior running back Seth Warner. In the second quarter, Ridgeline found the end zone first with a 21-yard pass to senior Evan Webb. Then, when Park City was trying to punt it away, sophomore punter Matthew DeMarco couldn't keep his hands on the ball, and it turned into a scoop and score for senior Miles Eck. This made it 21-7 going into the half. Park City came back with a vengeance in the third quarter, starting with a 2-yard run by Miles Warner, his second touchdown of the night. The Miners evened the score with a deep pass to senior Trond Grizel, making it 21-21 to start the fourth. Only 8 seconds into the quarter, a double pass by Ridgeline to senior Jovesa Demouni gave them their first score of the second half. The Miners answered with their own touchdown on a 26-yard pass to senior Troy de la Vega with 9 minutes 1 second on the clock. Tied up once again, junior running back Noah White muscled his way 4 yards to another 7 points for Ridgeline. Less than 1 minute on the clock later, senior Park City running back Kirby Baines juked and jived his way over 70 yards to tie it up 35-35. Then, with only 7 seconds left on the clock, it was the Riverhawks who made the game-winning score on a pass to Jovesa Demouni, who made the catch and sealed the win for Ridgeline. And he left us with one single word of wisdom after sealing the game for his team. Peace! Let's go, baby, let's go! This is the furthest that the Riverhawks have gone in the playoffs and sets up a semifinal matchup between Ridgeline and Skyview. The Riverhawks could also be undefeated if not for their 17-14 loss to the Bobcats on September 17th. The rematch will happen this Friday at 3 at Skyview High School. That's all the local football news for this week. Back to you, Sarah.